So Demis Hassabis has posed a new test for AGI. Let's talk about it. So essentially, Demis Hassabis came on an interview and he was talking about AGI and future development. And essentially, it came onto the conversation of talking about genuine artificial intelligence. So what is the true test for AGI? Because when you look at benchmarks, when you look at reasoning, when you look at robots, there isn't one broadly accepted definition for AGI. Sure, people say general intelligence, but what does that really mean? So Demis Hassabis puts forward this kind of test that is genuinely innovative. And he says that the kind of test that he would be looking for is training an AI system with a knowledge cutoff. Let's say, for example, 1911, and then seeing if it could come up with general relativity like Einstein did in 1915. And that is the kind of test that he thinks is a true test of whether you have a full AGI system.
Look, my definition of AGI has never changed. So, which I can tell you is we've always defined it, and I've always defined it since I started working on this 20, 30 years ago, as a system that can exhibit all the cognitive capabilities humans can. Now, why is that important? First of all, because the brain is the only existence proof we have that we know of, maybe in the universe, of a general intelligence. That's also partly why I studied neuroscience, because I wanted to understand the only data point that we have that this is possible, right? And understand that better. And so that's the definition I use. It's quite a high bar because it means if you wanted to test the system against that, it would have to be capable of all the things humans can do with this brain architecture, which is incredibly flexible. It's clear today's systems, although they're very impressive and they're improving, they don't do a lot of those things. So true creativity, continual learning, long-term planning, they're not good at those things. And another thing that is missing is general consistency across the board at capabilities. You know, of course, in some circumstances, they can get gold medals in international maths Olympiad questions, like we did last summer with our systems, but they can still fall over on relatively simple maths problems if you pose it in a certain way. So that shouldn't happen with a true general intelligence. It shouldn't be sort of a jagged intelligence like that. So there's still quite a lot of things missing. I think the kind of test I would be looking for is maybe training an AI system with a knowledge cutoff of, say, 1911, and then seeing if it could come up with general relativity like Einstein did in
Now, I think this is a genuinely interesting benchmark for AGI, and I think this highlights something important. The difference between pattern matching on existing knowledge versus genuine specific scientific reasoning from first principles. Now, I think the challenge of this test, though, is that it is pretty hard to do because it is going to have to reach a conclusion without the tools a human would. For example, Einstein didn't just have knowledge cutoff of 1911, he had years of obsessive focus, physical intuition built through experiments, and access to Lorentz, Maxwell's equations, and other things. So the AI would need all of that context and the creative leap. Now, what makes this a compelling test is that it rules out the main criticism of current AI, and it's basically that we're just sophisticated retrievers. If a model could genuinely derive something that wasn't in its training data through pure reasoning alone, that's a qualitatively different kind of intelligence. Now, of course, the counter argument here is that this might be achievable without true AGI. You could imagine a very capable reasoning system that you can extrapolate physical laws without having broader general intelligence. Solving one hard scientific problem is not as equal to generalized agency. And so I want to show you guys this short clip from Moonshots where they ask Ray Dalio if he's concerned about the moving goalposts of AGI. One of the things that I've started to realize in this AI space is that individuals will say, oh, AI can't do something, it can't pass this fundamental test. And then when it does actually pass said test, the goalposts are moved to, okay, but it cannot pass the test in this way or that way. And so if goalposts keep moving, how do you determine when you've hit AGI at all?
Ray, are you at all concerned about goalposts getting moved yet again, as we see happening over and over again with definitions of AGI and otherwise that we will pass your definition of the singularity, but nonetheless, most commentators will be arguing with each other for a long time after that whether the singularity has actually happened.
Well, mine is actually pretty strict. I mean, to pass my definition of AGI, you have to be an expert in thousands of different areas, which is actually more strict than most definitions of AGI. So I think I have a suitably strict definition of it.
But what else has Demis Hassabis said when it comes to achieving AGI? If we take a look at this video, he actually talks about the fact that there are still probably 2 or 3 more breakthroughs needed for AGI, some of which Google are currently working on. Take a listen, because this is of course very true. When you step outside of the LLM bubble and we look at true reasoning, there are a key few issues that we genuinely need to solve if we're going to get to the AGI that he does talk about.
And I'm definitely a subscriber to the idea that maybe we need 1 or 2 more big breakthroughs before we'll get to AGI. And I think they're along the lines of things like continual learning, better memory, longer context windows, or perhaps more efficient context windows would be the right way to say it. So don't store everything, just store the important things. That would be a lot more efficient. That's what the brain does. And better long-term reasoning and planning. Now, it remains to be seen whether just sort of scaling up existing ideas and technologies will be enough to do that, or we need 1 or 2 more really big, insightful innovations. I'm probably, if you were to push me, I would say I would be in the latter camp. But I think no matter what camp you're in, we're going to need large foundation models as the key component of the final AGI systems. Of that, I'm sure. So I'm not a subscriber to someone like Yann LeCun who thinks, you know, that they're just sort of some kind of dead end. I think the only debate in my mind is, are they a key component or the only component?
Now in that clip, you can see he talks about a few things. You know, you're going to need 2 more breakthroughs, which is of course 2 more giant step functions like continual learning, better memory, longer context windows. But something he also mentions is of course the very infamous Yann LeCun. Now, the reason I'm talking about Yann LeCun is because we're going to go full circle here. I'm going to show you guys why everyone can be correct at the same time. And he talks about the fact that, you know, Yann LeCun basically believes that LLMs are a complete dead end to AGI, or whether or not they are the full solution to AGI. And I think he's kind of right in the sense that LLMs are probably not the full solution to AGI, but a wider part of what AGI actually is. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Yann LeCun's statements,
absolutely no way. And whatever you can hear from some of my more adventurous colleagues, it's not going to happen within the next 2 years. There's absolutely no way in hell to, you know, pardon my French, the idea that we're going to have, you know, a country of genius in the data center, that's complete BS, right? There's absolutely no way. What we're going to have maybe is systems that are trained on sufficiently large amounts of data that any question that any reasonable person may ask will find an answer through those systems. And it would feel like you have, you know, a PhD sitting next to you, but it's not a PhD you have next to you. It's, a system with a gigantic memory and retrieval ability, not a system that can invent solutions to new problems, which is really what a PhD is. Okay, this is
That's actually the whole deal.
It's connected to this post that Thomas Wolf made, that inventing new things, requires the type of skill and abilities that you're not going to get from LLMs. So
now, of course, the thing is that Yann LeCun talks about LLMs not leading us to AGI, and it's a super fascinating question because remember, he says that LLMs are basically a dead end to AGI. But if we look at the ARC AGI leaderboard, we can see that with every iteration of new large language models, you can see that they've been increasing in capabilities. Now, the ARC AGI benchmark is one of those that is notoriously difficult because the way how the test is designed is essentially to basically prove that only a human could get above the human baseline, which is around 80 to 90%. But in just a few short space of months, maybe even just over a year, we've seen models go from maybe 5 to 10% all the way up to 80%, like Gemini 3 DeepThink is doing. Which begs the question, are these things smart or are they just pattern matchers? It is very hard to wonder what is happening. Now, here's the problem, okay? benchmarks are unfortunately being gamed. I'm not accusing any of these AI labs from doing so, but benchmarks, I don't think, are that much of a useful target anymore when it comes to figuring out if we're close to AGI. So let's take a look at what exactly I mean by that. So I was doing some research and I came across this very, there wasn't that much information about this Twitter thread, but I did do a little bit, of a deep dive. And I saw someone, post about the fact that Arc AGI might not be as good as you think. So Melanie Mitchell did some research and she said, of course, this is what got me excited about Arc AGI in the first place. I worry that this goal has been lost amid the rush to achieve higher and higher accuracy on Arc. At least some Arc tasks can be solved using shortcuts, spurious correlations in the tasks data. For example, our group found that the numbers representing the colors in the inputs can be used by LLMs to find unintended arithmetic patterns that can lead to accidental correct solutions. And we found that if we change the encoding from the numbers to the other kinds of symbols, the accuracy goes down and the results are going to be published soon. And they've also identified other possible shortcuts. And so essentially there was like a complete Substack post on this, but the main point from it all is that high benchmark scores don't necessarily mean that the AI actually understands the task. It may be getting the right answers for completely wrong reasons. And the best example from the article they talk about is that when AI models solve Arc AGI correctly, they can only explain the right reasoning about 70% of the time. Humans explain it correctly 90% of the time. So roughly 1 in 3 correct AI answers is basically a fluke. And they talk about the clever Hans hook. And there was a horse essentially in 1904 that could apparently do math, read clocks, identify playing cards, and everyone thought it was a genius. But it turns out that it was just reading tiny unconscious facial expressions from the questioner to know when to stop tapping. Brilliant at something, just not what anyone thought it was. And apparently that's probably what's happening with these models on benchmarks. So the thing is that accuracy alone can tell you almost nothing. Why the model actually got it right matters just as much as whether it got it right. And that is genuinely a key point here. If someone just blurts out the answer to your question, if they don't truly understand why they were able to derive that answer, they don't really understand. And of course, that isn't really intelligence. I will, of course, be making an update when they do come out with the results to be published soon, because of course, there's probably going to be some criticism, some pushback on Arc AGI. So it will be interesting. And I haven't seen anyone talk about it. And so one of the things I continue to think about is the fact that AGI is going to be multimodal. Most people talk about LLMs, learning, this and that, but you have to understand that general intelligence requires many more things more than text. You've got vision, you've got audio, you've got touch. Look at all the senses you have, the ability to reason in the physical world. There are many things that are going to be needed for true general intelligence. And so I came across this tweet from Chris who says, wouldn't it be hilarious if Figure Robotics accidentally solves AGI before the pure LLM labs? Because their vision language action model is forced to build a hyper-accurate predictive world model to navigate physical reality, like JEPA, which is Jan LeCun's system, predicting the next physical state. If a model can perfectly predict the physical physics of the real world, it would be funny that if that spatial and temporal reasoning became the actual foundation of AGI. It will be fascinating to see if their Helix model is able to do something like this, because they have the best humanoid robots in the world, and they could also, if they crack AGI, they'd be worth 25 trillion before 2035. And you can see that Brett Adcock, the CEO here, says the AI chatbots I use today from the Frontier Labs still feel pretty dumb. They're a research tool for advanced internet searches. AGI will be multimodal. It will listen to you, it will talk to you, see the world, have near perfect memory, deeply personalized and able to interact with the world. And so that point about AGI being completely multimodal, I wholeheartedly agree. When you think about if you compare a pure LLM system to a multimodal, VLA, like the one that Figure is using, like their new Helix system, I think maybe that could lead to AGI more in a way because of what they're actually doing and the true definition of AGI. Now, if you're wondering about AGI and what actually could define AGI, I think Yoshia Benjo puts it very clearly here. He says that AGI isn't going to be some one defining moment. It's actually a spectrum of capabilities. And as these capabilities increase, you just get better and better models.
It's not a moment. The reason is simple. Intelligence isn't just like one number. We have people who are very smart on some things and stupid on other things, and it's the same with AI. We currently have AI systems that are even much stronger than humans in some ways, in their knowledge and their abilities with like so many languages and so on. And in other ways, they're stupid. They're like a child. And yes, progress will move on all fronts probably, but it's unlikely we'll end up with the same capabilities as humans across the board at any moment, which means that we shouldn't be thinking of like an AGI moment. We should think of particular skills that AIs are, becoming better at, track those skills. And for each of these, we should ask the question, how useful or beneficial it can be, for what purposes, and also how it could be misused, or if we do get loss of control, how an AI could use it against us.
Whether or not we get AGI in the next few years, a lot of people are starting to not really care about that question. They still expect the next 25 years and the next 50 years to play out kind of like the last 25 years or the last 50 years, where, there's a lot of technological change between 2000 and 2025. But it's like a moderate amount of change. And they kind of expect that in 2050, there will be a similar amount of change as there was between 2000 and 2025, even if they think that we're going to get AGI in 2030. They think AGI is just like what's going to drive that sort of continued mild improvement. Whereas I think that there's a pretty good chance that by 2050, the world will look as different from today as today does from the hunter-gatherer era. It's 10,000 years of progress rather than 25 years of progress, driven by AI automating all intellectual activity.
So let me know what you guys think about AGI, and I will see you guys in the next one. It's been Andrew Black. You've been watching the AI Grid. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day.